We were coming off a Horizon League championship and a first-round exit to Kentucky, but I felt like this season could be even better. We were projected to win the conference again, and honestly, with this team, I was hoping we could get an at-large berth this year. Our first game was against Morehead State, and our backcourt consisted of freshman Larry Alvarez and senior Marquez Warwick, while junior Sam Vincent, freshman Awadi Teal, and junior Emmanuel Zorgville led the front court. By the end of this video, we'll see if I can get this team to make a run in March Madness, and by the way we were playing so far, I felt like it was a realistic goal as the team was passing the ball around better than ever, showing off their chemistry. 7-footer Emmanuel Zorgville also fit right in, and I couldn't believe I didn't give the center any playing time last year. Since this game quickly turned into a blowout so early on, this will be the last highlight from our great win, and I decided it was time to upgrade my school's weight room. After that, we had to travel across the river to play against Cincinnati, and if we were going to get an at-large bid, we had to win this one. It was nice having somebody who could finally rebound for us, which we didn't have last year, but so far we just weren't able to stop the Bearcats as it felt like they hadn't missed a shot yet. Marquez Warwick was struggling to hold onto the ball, and I had to take a timeout after the crowd went nuts, but thankfully it seemed to work as he got back on track and we only went into the half down 3. Point guard Larry Alvarez wasn't passing like a freshman, and the new starters on the team seemed better than last year's. Emmanuel Zorgville was the center we needed to defend the basket and rebound, but he also had a little offensive game in him, and all of a sudden I noticed we had a 4-point lead. If we could close out with a win here, that would make a real statement, and I never expected our center to seal it for us, but he was moving unlike almost any other 7-footer, and we were going to take down the Bearcats on the road. Eastern Kentucky also didn't stand any chance, and next up was the Wooden Legacy tournament where we beat Buffalo in the first round and George Mason in the second, so we made the championship game and we had to keep our undefeated season alive, which was definitely possible with Marquez Warwick doing stuff like this. Since he's a senior, he would be missed next year, but for now, this team was built to make a tournament run and we would just have to figure out how to stop Nevada. They were currently making every shot they took, but Sam Vincent would prove that he could do the exact same as them, and nearing halftime we had almost double their score. Northern Kentucky should be scaring the rest of the country right now because we were currently looking unstoppable, and we were going to win the Wooden Classic preseason tournament, which was amazing for team chemistry. After beating Penn, Louisville was too tough of a match, but we did bounce back against Bellarmine, so going into our last non-conference game at Rupp, we had a chance to make a real statement against Kentucky, and Awadi Teal made sure we got onto the board first. Sam Vincent was also rejecting everything as well, so hopefully we could get our revenge on the Wildcats who put us out in March last year. Forward Awadi Teal had been our best player so far as he was forcing turnovers and scoring on Kentucky with ease, but he came down from that bucket limping, so senior Trey Robinson came in and it didn't seem to make a difference as we kept extending our lead. Sam Vincent dreamed of this upset actually happening, but the Wildcats were climbing back into it to end the half, and Rupp Arena was shaking until Emmanuel Zorgville did this. However, by the time the second half rolled around, just like in last year's March Madness matchup, we were starting to collapse, and our chance to beat a ranked opponent was starting to dwindle away until Sam Vincent stepped up and got us back within 2. Trey Robinson gave up this backdoor cut right after though, so I put in freshman forward Ben Clausen and he immediately got us a quick bucket. Unfortunately though, on the other end, he fouled, giving up an and-one play, so we needed someone to step up, and Marquez Warwick did just that. But on our next possession, Sam Vincent lost the ball, Jacob Toppin picked it up, and what he did afterwards was just brutal. From there, we just couldn't seem to buy a shot on Kentucky, but not all hope was lost because we got the ball back, and with this clutch 3, it would only be a 1-point game. Then, Cason Wallace went to the line, missed his only free throw, and time was ticking fast. What happened next gave me PTSD as this shot looks so identical to Christian Watford's shot 10 years ago, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, as a Kentucky fan, I will never forget this. Anyways, the upset clearly felt amazing, and that landed 2 3-star recruits in Grant Booker and Nathan Wiggins. I also got to upgrade the school's practice gym, but after this embarrassing performance, maybe I shouldn't have. Fortunately, we won 7 straight following that loss, and now it was time for the big game. It was rivalry week against Wright State, and they got off to a hot start, but Awadi Teal was extremely quick to silence the crowd, and this is what the Horizon League standings look like so far. I was a little surprised they left Marquez Warwick so open, but they kept scoring, so I guess it technically didn't matter. It seemed like the corner was Sam Vincent's favorite spot, and he was doing all that he could to keep it a close game as he was dropping dimes in transition to his teammates. But no matter what we did, Wright State just kept outscoring us, so we went into the half down by 2. However, that wouldn't last long with Emmanuel Zorgville throwing this down, and point guard Larry Alvarez was really starting to stand out as he ran the offense so well. This one was definitely going to come down to the wire, and even though Marquez Warwick wasn't hitting today, the 7-footer was saving us over and over as he continued to slam everything down. But unfortunately, with about 50 seconds left, we fell behind by 2 points because we couldn't rebound, so we needed a bucket, and that is when Emmanuel Zorgville finally made a mistake. Once again, we could have gotten a stop on defense, but we didn't get the rebound, and luckily Marquez Warwick got us the quick basket that we needed. But Keaton Norris wasn't going to miss from the free throw line as he made sure his team went up by 3, so it all came down to one final shot, and somehow Marquez Warwick got wide open to send it to overtime. I was not looking forward to him graduating at the end of the year, but while he was still in college, he was a pleasure to watch. This rivalry game seemed like it was never going to end as we were just trading buckets back and forth, and Marquez Warwick did the remarkable again when he forced a steal and then threw it down seconds later. It was his world and everybody else was just existing in it tonight as he kept finding the basket, and with 20 seconds left we had a 3-point lead that we needed to hold on to, which we did as Larry Alvarez ran out the clock. This rivalry win felt amazing and we won our next 2 as well, but Cleveland State was still undefeated in conference play, so if we wanted the 1 seed in the Horizon League tournament, we had to beat them. And during these next few weeks, I'll be trying to beat the odds by putting together winning college basketball entries on Prize Picks, today's video sponsor. With the madness starting soon, this is the best time to get the app, and you can play in over 30 states, so there's a good chance yours is eligible. Anyways, you're probably wondering what Prize Picks is, and on there you pick higher to lower on 2 to 6 players projections, and if you're right, you can win up to 25 times the money. I think it makes watching sports more entertaining, so if you want some free cash to start out with, code BOARD or the first link in my description will double your initial deposit up to $100. They have every sport you can think of, so you might as well take advantage of that. And now we have to attempt to take down Cleveland State, but winning on the road isn't exactly going to be cake. 7-footer Emmanuel Zorgville hitting a deep shot was a surprise though, and he continued to do so, which means that we could run a 5-out motion offense. The center was a lot more of a scorer than I thought he was, so all of a sudden we were up by 10 points on the Vikings, but unfortunately it wouldn't last very long. After turning it over on multiple possessions, our lead was cut to just 4, and now that the pressure was on, we couldn't buy a shot, so this one was far from over. However, Emmanuel Zorgville was starting to look like he was Giannis 2.0, and Marquez Warwick was finally starting to drain some threes, so as a team, we came out playing on fire, and in the end, that would get us a huge win over Cleveland State. After going 6-2 in February though, we would go into the conference tournament as the 2 seed, and our first game would be against 10-seeded Robert Morris. I also bumped up the difficulty on here, so if we wanted to make the Horizon League Championship, we had to play well. Everything was on the line since we weren't getting an at-large bid, but that did kind of surprise me considering we won at Rupp and we were 26-4. Robert Morris did a good job of staying in it, but Sam Vincent was also shooting just as well, so going into the half, we still had a 5-point lead on the Colonials, but that only lasted for about a minute. So far, we hadn't been able to hit a single shot in the second half, while they extended their lead by going on a 9-point run, and unfortunately, as we kept playing bad, it continued to get worse for us, and I had to make a change fast, so I put in sophomore Alan Sumler, and he came in and immediately drilled a 3 for us. I don't know where his confidence came from, but I loved it, and after Larry Alvarez forced a turnover, we had a chance to get it within 1 possession, and even though Marquez Warwick missed a 3, center Emmanuel Zorgville still got us a bucket, so we should have been on track to come back, but they just kept hitting shots, and we were just lucky that they left small forward Sam Vincent wide open. After their center, Trey James didn't just miss it once, but missed it twice, and even got a chance at it for a 3rd time, we finally got the rebound, and Marquez Warwick stepped up as the clutchest player we had. However, Robert Morris responded right back, so we needed a bucket fast, and Alan Sumler got it. On the other end, Sam Vinson got a massive block, and Larry Alvarez did a fantastic job of running around, draining the rest of the clock, so we avoided what would have been an embarrassing upset loss, and it was time to try and go back to back. The Horizon League Championship was here, and we got off to a great start as we hit 2 threes on our first 2 possessions. Larry Alvarez was also forcing steals on the defensive end, and he was the backbone to this team, but Cleveland State wasn't going to let us pull away easily as they kept throwing it down in our faces, so Marquez Warwick had to do what he does best, and once again Larry Alvarez was picking pockets while finishing with ease on the other end, so it looked like we were going to go into the half up by 5, and we would after this half-court heave wobbled out. We had to win this game to make the NCAA tournament, and once again something lit a fire in us at the half because we began the second on top of it. Awadi Teal kept getting us stops as well, and our defense was definitely playing better than we had all year as Larry Alvarez continued to make plays. The fact that we kept getting stop after stop was huge, and we won the Horizon League again, so we were going dancing. Washington State as a 1 seed took me by surprise, but unfortunately we didn't get their region, and our first game in the NCAA tournament was against 5-seeded North Carolina. Marquez Warwick was ready to step up in the big moment, and he was gunning to pull off the first round upset this season because this was his final chance before he graduated. So far, he was the only scorer on our team, but he certainly wasn't the only one making a difference, and after he found Emmanuel Zorgville for 3, we were already up by 6. I couldn't believe the center already had 2 blocks, and he was dominating almost everywhere, so we went into the half up by 5. With 6 minutes remaining, the upset was a real possibility, but we would have to keep playing as well as we had been, and North Carolina did not seem like they were going to let that happen. They thought they were going to take a lead on this possession, but we made sure that they didn't, and Sam Vinson stepped up when he drilled this deep 3. The captains on this team were making sure that we stayed ahead, but Caleb Love picked Marquez Warwick's pocket with about a minute and a half remaining, and he would end up getting his team back within 1. So we desperately needed a bucket, and Sam Vinson made that happen. North Carolina was starting to feel the pressure, and after this stop, we had the ball up by 4, but Marquez Warwick missed his free throw, so we would need to lock up, and once again, our defense was doing it all for us, making sure we actually pulled off the first round upset. North Carolina couldn't believe it, and our next game was against the Hurricanes. In the round of 32, it was us versus 4-seeded Miami, and despite our best efforts to get off to a good start like we normally do, we weren't able to, so this Sam Vinson 3 to get us on the board was big, and I have no idea why they continued to leave him open, but 3-pointers were the only thing keeping us in it, because whenever we tried to get baskets another way, it didn't go exactly as we were hoping it would. Miami was doing their best to avoid getting upset, and I wasn't sure how long we could keep shooting this well. After this one from Marquez Warwick, we were above 50% from 3, and then he'd hit another as time expired in the first half, putting us up by 2. However, the Hurricanes came out in the second playing well, as they seemed to make everything they threw towards the basket, so I called a timeout and drew up a play for Marquez Warwick to tie it back up. Emmanuel Zorgville also kept doing his best to protect the basket, and the upset was still very much a possibility after Sam Vinson drilled this 3-pointer, but Miami wasn't willing to let that happen so easily, and after a missed shot with 30 seconds left, the Hurricanes had a chance, which they took full advantage of by taking a 1-point lead. Marquez Warwick wanted the ball to go for the win, but he would get stripped, and that would ruin our hopes of pulling off the upset, eliminating us from the NCAA tournament. Creighton would end up winning it all, and even though every major school wanted me, my goal was to make Northern Kentucky the next Gonzaga, and since we only lost a few players, along with getting 4-star John Cummings to commit, next year was set to be even better than this one.